Hey team, welcome. Give me just a moment. My mic is cutting up. Trying to hurry up and rush and get on here for you. All right, I'm here. There we go. All right. So Coach Willena McGee here. I thank everybody who's here. First off, let me say that I am struggling with COVID. I was diagnosed with COVID yesterday. So I am a lot short of breath, and I originally had scheduled this for 3, but I just could not get the energy up. But I needed to give you all this information that I have learned, and so I'm pushing through so that we can get this information done. But if I start into a coffin hack, please just excuse me. I'll excuse myself off the camera, and I'll come back. But first off, I know many of you are here for the headline, Medicaid and Medicare, what's going on in South Carolina with ModivCare, and I appreciate you all being here, and I'm going to go into that first. But this video is going to be 2 parts, so I recommend that you all watch it to the end. I know that our what is it called, our um, time span, I guess, is often, hey everyone, that our time spans can be off, and we want to rush through and get. But the information that I'm sharing with you tonight is not just fluff and tough. This is really serious for those of you who are providers in the industry, and I'm bringing you some serious news. So first, I'm going to start with prayer just to help me to get through. And then I'm going to talk about ModivCare and the changes that are going on in South Carolina. Feel free to stay, go. It's all good. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for giving us this time to come together and talk about the changes in the industry. I thank you for being able to be the recipient of the news of the industry, and that individuals feel comfortable with sharing with me what's going on behind closed doors so that I can bring it to my community. Father, I just thank you for opening my mind, opening my heart so that I can be a vessel used by you to give this news and show individuals the way on how to survive this upcoming economy in the case that the worst can happen. So, Father, I just thank you. I give you all praise. I ask you to be with those who are working on their businesses, working towards their businesses, that you will help them, that you will lead them, you will guide them, and that when the time is up, that they will be able to come and get the coaching that they need, Father. Father, I just thank you for all of those who work in the background, Tasif, and all of my staff and crew that work tirelessly to bring the editing and the design work and everything to our community. I just want to thank you for all of that, and I just appreciate and glorify your name. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name, we ask it, we receive it. Amen. All right, so thank you, team, once again, coming first. And the first thing, this is going to be a little bit of a different format because I have a lot of information. And if y'all don't like hearing and being talked to, then this is not the video for you. Click off now, because I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm not going to act like it's not happening. We're going to be real. So first off, I want to start out by telling you that I still have my old J&L's Medicals Transport account. And I was recently contacted by an individual who works in ModivCare, and they were like, we're not taking providers right now, and thank you for your application. We're not taking providers. And I'm like, I didn't put in an application. My company's been closed for several months. So let me call and see what's happening. And I still have to follow up on that. But it's a blessing from the Most High, right? So we had, I contacted them, and I said, I didn't put in an application, but thank you for the heads up. And then I said, but let me turn back around. And I sent her another email, and I was like, now, I know that you said that you're not taking any more providers. And I said, can you tell me, is that for the whole state of South Carolina? Is that just county specific? Or is that just in certain areas? And I asked, what is the reason why? So what I was told is that here in South Carolina, that it's low trip volume. So what that tells me when they tell me it's low trip volume is that there are too many providers in the area, and so they cannot give enough trip volume or that Medicaid has cut. And so they're not able to give the trips to individuals the way that they would want to. So I can only speculate when we say low trip volume, but that's what comes to my mind when I'm told that there's low trip volume. Now, there's an article that I researched on LinkedIn. It was actually on Mark Crawford's page, and I'm going to put the link in the description box for both of these videos after we're done, or in the comment section, so you can have them. But that article was very detailed on stakeholders and what ModivCare is doing to protect its stakeholders. And of course, as you know, when we're in a society, in a capitalist society, the goal is to protect your stakeholders' investments, right? So by trying to protect their stakeholders' investments, there's going to be some changes financially. This article was written by the CFO. And one of the changes that I noticed in the article, it was like, it was there, but you have to want to read. But that article stated that 30 million, I want to say 30 millions in cutbacks they're trying to achieve. It may have been more, but I want to say it was 30 million, not 30 billion. I want to say 30 million. You know, right now with all the Trump administration stuff, everything's in the billions right now. But I want you all to check out that article. I'm going to leave a link because it really gives some details on where we need to be thinking with ModivCare. So South Carolina, I already know, is not taking any more providers. So anyone who is ready to sign up with ModivCare and get busy with them, they're not taking providers right now. So you will most likely get turned down. Okay, so you can still go into the business, and that's what we're going to talk about on this second half. And there's still a great opportunity, and we're going to talk about it in the second half of this video. But starting out right now, if you're looking at going into business in South Carolina and you want to be broker dependent, it's not going to happen right now. So don't go out and buy your van. Don't go to the PSC and spend all that money for insurance and workers' comp and SAM insurance and professional insurance, because you're not going to get the contract. All right. So that is the breaking news for South Carolina. ModivCare is not taking any more contracts at this time. All right. They have also stopped their transportation, their driver transportation, individual driver that we had Ms. Lest on a couple of weeks ago talking about brokers and discussing that. But because of their Medicaid funding drop, they have had to dismantle that entire program, leaving individuals who were in that program. I don't even know. I can only imagine. Okay. So we have to thank you for the healing. That's sweet. Thank you. So going on to our next topic, I want to say to all of you who are in South Carolina, I am going to be hosting. All right, you're going to hear more about it in a few more months. But I'm going to be hosting. I'm going to be hosting a workshop for my South Carolina providers, and I think I have that listed. Give me just 1 second, and I can tell you exactly when I'm going to be doing that. It looks like I've got it scheduled for, what day is that? I don't know. I'm going to post it, but it's in May. I want to say it's like May 2nd, or let me see. Summary and key actions. And then I'll get to it. I'm sorry. Y'all can skip through on the video when it uploads. I apologize. I had it out here, but can't find it. You know how it is when you're looking for something, you can't find it. No, let me see. That's not it. We're going to get there because I want to let you all know that date. Okay, so, all right. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Where is it? I know it's up here. There's the May 2nd. May 2nd, 2025. We're going to be having a South Carolina workshop. The time is going to be announced. It's going to probably be more of like an 8 to 1. So we'll have lunch. We'll have, and I will be going over the one NEMT 101 in that workshop. So if you're interested in coming, just know that that's what we're about to get putting together for that, for those of you who are in South Carolina, so that we can talk about some ways to still get into the business, still get into the industry, so that you can still be successful, because we're headed to item 2. So y'all stick around, because there's some important information here. Okay, so let me get back to my notes so I can make sure that I don't get off track. All right, and so today, I did something a little bit different, because, I love the PowerPoints. But I was like, it don't seem like they're listening to me with the PowerPoints, right? So I had to get my fingers out. I got to get my fingers out, and I got to act like a teacher tonight, because I'm about sick of this. I'm so sick of this, but we're going to get it right today. All right, so who is this video for? Number 1, this second half of this video is for spiritually minded individuals. That means those that are teachable. If you just want some free information, I'm going to give you a lot of free information, but the value comes into listening to what I'm saying behind what I'm saying. Okay, so I need those that are able to listen and to understand where I'm coming from, educationally, economically, spiritually, physically, all of it, emotionally, and to be able to make intelligent decisions for yourself. Because what I'm talking about tonight it's intense. All right, so the next person that this video is for is federal workers. The reason why it's for federal workers, because y'all are experiencing the most economic disruption right now of any individuals out there. And because you're experiencing that, you all are looking for opportunities. And I'm here to tell you that NEMT is an opportunity, but we're going to have to approach it differently. This video is also for veterans, because y'all know what's up. Y'all know what the federal government is about. You all have served, you're organized individuals, and you're going to get the concepts that I'm talking about tonight. And finally, I don't know if you can see it down there. I'm going to move it. This is for transportation providers who rely on brokers, Medicaid, or Medicare. And the reason that this is for you tonight is because you all are going to be the ones that are most impacted by the changes that may be coming if we face what's going on in the Trump administration and it starts to trickle down into our Medicaid and Medicare recipients. All right, so let me make sure I got my camera up. So I'm going to flip this page and we're going to get started, y'all. We're going to get started. Hang in there. Bear with me. I hope you don't get dizzy. Look, and I just want to express to y'all, this is from Uline, Building My Business Credit. All right. All right. So we talked about who this video is for, and now I'm telling you, don't waste time. Time is of the essence. It is not a time to sit there and say, okay, should I not? Go ahead and get the information so you can, again, make an intelligent decision for yourself on how you're going to enter into this business. Now, the reason why I'm saying don't waste time is because we are truly in an economic downturn. We are starting to see, and listen, all I have time to do is investigate. If you all haven't been keeping up with YouTube, I understand y'all working, y'all trying to build businesses, taking care of families. For the most part, I'm taking care of clients. I'm building content out for you all, and I'm searching numbers. I'm researching all the time to stay ahead of the curve, to make sure that I can present things like this to you. And from what I'm seeing, we're beginning to see inflation is at 3%. Now, 3% for the U.S. government is not something that has never been done. Don't get me wrong. But usually what the Fed does is when it gets to about 2.5, 2.8%, it might touch 3% here and there, but it usually doesn't stay at 3% as long as it has remained at the level of 3%. And I want to say it's been since December of 2024 that it has been high at 3%. And again, like I said, it's not that it's never been that way. It just hasn't sustained that way. And the Fed is right now unable to change interest rates to bring that inflation down because consumer spending has still been high. Okay, so we're looking at inflation that is 3% and has been sustained. Now, the effects on that, what does that mean? I hope y'all can see that. Purchasing power. Purchasing power is down, meaning that individuals are not able to purchase the items. You know, eggs are like $12 for 12. I use pasture raised eggs, so my eggs are more expensive, so they're $12 a dozen. The interest rates are up. So we see interest rates for buying houses are about 7 to 8%. We see commercial loans at about 20%. So we have interest rates that are up. And then which means then now employee wages have to be increased. And when we're talking about inflation and small business, when you have to go in and increase employee wages, that can put a strain on small businesses. All right, so don't waste time in the information that I'm giving you, because you are going to need this information to make intelligent decisions for your business. All right, let's roll. So the next, so we talked about don't wasting time. Now let's talk about the direct impact on NEMT. How is this going to affect you in NEMT? Number one, let me see, operational costs. That's going to be your first thing that you're going to see is your operational costs in this economy are going to go up. Prices for fuel, maintenance. Again, I spoke about employee wages. All of those operational costs are going to increase initially. Excuse me. Let me get some water. I'm sorry, y'all. Again, I'm here. I'm COVID positive, so I'm working up a sweat. Give me just a second. So we have operational costs, increased maintenance, etc. Then here we go. This is how it's going to really impact you. We're going to have driver shortages and labor costs. Now you say, Coach, why we're going to have driver shortages? Because everybody's going to want a job. But if you're paying your driver $10 and $12 an hour, but they're paying $12 for some eggs, that's a whole hour of work. People are going to be seeking employment that can pay them a higher rate. So if you're on the lower side of the competitive side of paying your drivers and you're only paying them $10, $12 an hour, if you're not able to get them up to that $15, $18, $20 mark, you're going to see your drivers leaving. And that's going to put a strain on your labor costs. I hope y'all feeling me. Now, inflation equals higher living costs, and that's where we're going to see drivers again. If you got that low rates and that you're paying your drivers, you can pretty much bet that they're going to leave. All right, so prepare for that. Now, we also have number 3, service demand and operation costs. So initially, I want y'all to understand this is initially. With these hits on Medicaid and Medicare, we see them come down the pipeline. We will see a decrease in service demand because individuals, if they're affected by Medicaid and Medicare, now again, like we see with ModivCare, they're low trip volume. So that means that providers are no longer able to get with the brokers, and that you're going to have to find alternative methods on obtaining clients. And now this doesn't just affect this doesn't just affect the brokers. This also affects nursing homes, facilities, home health. I mean, this affects everybody, because if we see cuts and NEMT happens to be one of those cuts, then that means that it's going to affect the bottom line on all those service-based businesses, including hospitals and facilities. So we're going to see initial service demand and operation costs going up and service demand going down. Now, the fourth thing that we will see as an impact on NEMT is, y'all, they told me I should have been a doctor, not a nurse. How about that? So if y'all see my handwriting, don't be talking about me. So we got supply chain disruptions, availability of vehicle parts and equipment. So when we talk about supply chain disruption, team, just like we saw in trucking several years ago, we saw them, their whole industry just kind of explode. And they went from, $500 a load to $125 a load. It's the same thing. When we deal with people, we're still dealing with supplies. We have vehicles that break down, and if we're getting tariffs, some of our vehicles are Toyotas and Siennas, so we're getting tariffs, and that's going to affect the getting the vehicle maintenance and getting the vehicle parts. If you have a Ford Transit and we've got tariffs with Canada, that means that the electricity in areas like Michigan, who that's their plan. We might see slowdowns in them being able to produce parts for those particular vehicles because of layoffs and things like that. So again, this is not to scare you. This is to educate you so that you understand what we're going into if there is actually a Medicare, Medicaid cut for NEMT. So I'm going to go and show you how we can change some of this. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right, y'all. Hang in there with me. I'm going to try to make this, try to work this. So why is this an opportunity? All right. So the national data, let's talk about national data. I just did a LinkedIn article. I'm going to attach that article to this live once we get off, probably in the morning. So hopefully, those, that know me, go over to my LinkedIn page. It's Willena McGee. It's not NEMT Startup. It's Willena McGee. Go ahead and check out that article, or you can go on my Facebook page. I posted it there until I get it linked up tonight. But one of the things that this article is going into is what the national data shows. Y'all know I'm a numbers girl, right? Because y'all got to show me some proof. You can't just tell me this stuff and then not have no proof. Okay. So we are going to see, let me get to my numbers. Hold on. All right. So why is it that I'm saying, with all these economic downturns, all of these things going into place, that this is still a great opportunity? Number one, I want you all to get serious about understanding what business means. Okay. Business is not, okay, we just get a van and a vehicle and some insurance and we get with the broker and then we call it the day. That is not what it means. We have to understand that going into business, you need to give it 3 years. 3 total years. That is a business cycle before you know whether or not it's going to propel itself and grow, or whether or not it's going to decline and die. Okay. So 3 years is what it takes to actually be successful or unsuccessful in any business. Now, we see that evidence with other influencers in this space. After 3 years, you saw things take off for them. And for me, unfortunately, it didn't. I had to close my doors. So 3 years is a major turning point. So what you do through those 3 years is how you feed your business is so important. So the national data says, okay, that although we know the industry is shifting fast with these changes, that, hold on, I got to get up here, y'all. I got to get up here to my article. Let me go to my article, y'all. I was trying to go to my notes and that's not working for me. All right. So what we have found since 2001, and this is in healthcare, okay, which will translate to NEMT. What we have found since 2001 is that physicians' fees, because of inflation, physicians are not able to charge what they want to charge. So they've had to come down on their prices to meet Medicaid, Medicare, and insurance standards. That's why we had that whole incident. We know, I ain't gonna say no names because I ain't trying to get flagged, but we had that whole incident in New York over reimbursement rates. Physicians have had to take a brunt of that because they have had to lower their rates in order to provide services at a cost effective and still get paid. But what we have found is that some Medicare providers, they've learned how to work the system and they're able to get a 60% reimbursement. So when we look at 29 and 60%, that's a huge gap in reimbursement. But what the data shows is that when it comes to self-pay clients, y'all hear me? When it comes to self-pay clients, hospitals have found that 80% of their self-pay revenue comes from just 30% of those who are uninsured or underinsured. Again, that's why I said this is not going to be for everybody. This information ain't going to be for anybody. Y'all got to listen to what I'm saying. 80% of their self-pay revenue comes from just 30% of what they collect from underinsured and insured. So they're making more money. Hospitals are making more money by charging self-pay clients that only pay 30% of the time. Y'all hear me? Y'all send me a comment. Let me know you hear me, because this is some good stuff. So now what I'm telling you is that the national data shows us that by pivoting and stop approaching Medicare and Medicaid, that you can do better by adjusting your business model to accommodate more self-pay clients. All right. So now let's go to our next point. Why is there an opportunity? Because again, the bubble has bursted. We know the bubble has burst. We see housing prices being affected right now. Housing, I just watched the YouTube video. Housing in Florida, they got the houses at 249,000, and just 5 years ago, that same house was flipped and they got it for 50,000. They raised the price up to 249,000, and then what happens is that they drive the price up so high that people can't purchase. And now the interest rates are so high, they can't purchase. So now guess what? They are stuck with the house on the market. It is the same way for us. Now we call it vehicles. We're going to talk about vehicles. So what we see right now is that interest rates are on the rise, which means we now have more supply. Now, this is not now. It's not affected. It has not officially hit the car lots, our vehicles where we purchase our vehicles. So we're still seeing $50,000, $85,000 vehicles. But what I'm saying to you is if you stop and you begin to strategize and you begin to plan this thing out, you will be able to see that we're going to have interest rates may rise initially, but that means that because they've risen, we're going to have more supply. Y'all hear me? We are going to have more supply because people aren't buying all those vehicles. We can't afford them Ford Transits. We can't afford those Honda and the Bronze and the Brown Mobilities. They sitting on the lot. So now we have more supply, which more supply means that we have less demand. So when you have less demand, what happens, y'all, in economics is that we now have lower prices. Y'all hear me? Lower prices right there, lower prices. So again, why is this a great opportunity? Because we got 3 years. We have 3 years. Now, I know that y'all don't want to hear me say, okay, well, plan out your business, strategize it. But I'm going to need y'all to do what one of my companies over there in Texas that just signed up or will be signing up soon for my NEMT Solutions program. There's 3 friends. They've partnered up. They've split the costs for the coaching. They're splitting the costs for the investment. I need y'all to team up Find people that are like-minded, ready to roll so that the expense isn't so expensive. We are going to need strong providers because our family members are going to need to still get to the clinics. They're still going to need to get to the grocery store. They're still going to need to get to all these places. We're not going to be able to charge $260. No, we might have to cut those prices a little bit to accommodate people unless you're in an area that can sustain $260 for a trip. You might have to come down to, $200 or $180, but you're still making more than you would off of a $24 ride of a 10-mile radius on a ModivCare contract. So I need y'all to begin to start thinking this thing through economically and financially project on how you come into this business, because there is a great opportunity if you are patient and you plan this thing out. Because in about a year and a half, with all these disruptions, we are going to see prices drop. And if you start planning now, I got an individual who just signed up with me today, NEMT Solutions Program, before the February 28th date is over. And he signed up with me and he was like, I can take my time. And I'm like, I want you to take your time. We don't want to rush this process. I don't like working with individuals who are rushed and are panicked and are scared, because scared people make bad decisions. You hear me? So what I'm saying to you is that if you're wanting to look at an investment, in a risk investment, there is still a risk. But if you're looking at the risk, then know that at a year and a half, and individuals that do my program, they choke it up. Hold on. Individuals that do my program, it generally takes us a year. I have over 8-10 students right now that I'm still finishing up, that you all haven't been able to see their testimonials, but they are still actively working. Some of them say, I'm just building my business credit. I ain't in no rush to do nothing. But they take their time because they understand that this economy, we understand that this economy means that in just a few months, probably within the next 12 to 15 months, we're going to see lower rates, lower prices. We're going to see those vehicle rates drop. And then we're going to see that insurance begin to drop too, because there's going to be less providers. It just makes sense. All right, so let's go to the next one. We've been on here 32 minutes. If you have questions, go ahead and leave them in the box. Leave them in the comments section. We're going to get through this. So, all right. So we've talked about all the challenges. We've talked about what the economy is going to look like. We've talked about ModivCare. We've talked about all that good things. I've talked to you about the best way. What you can do is partner up, because yes, I know that my service is expensive, but I don't charge each and every person on your team the same amount. If you partner up and get you a community of individuals to network with and back up, my prices aren't that expensive, and you're getting it done right. I'm going to need y'all to stop tripping. I'm just saying. So what are your next steps? Diversifying revenue streams. You got to niche down. At the beginning of this, I told you, who is this for? Number 1, spiritually minded individuals. Number 2, federal workers. Number 3 was, who was it? I can't remember. Transportation providers. And who else we have over there? Let's see. We had veterans. Because I'm talking to y'all tonight. I will be talking to my healthcare workers, but I think y'all have a good idea of what you're facing. I think you all have a good idea. But I'm talking to my federal workers tonight. I'm talking to those who are scrambling to try to figure out what are they going to do next, what your next move is. And they see this opportunity, but they have a misconception that you can get it done quickly. And I'm telling you, you won't be able to get it done as quickly as you think you can get it done, but the investment is worth it if you set up correctly. So we want to diversify revenue streams by making sure that we have a target market, not just everybody in the market. We're not just saying our whole community. We want to niche down who you serving. You serving funerals, you serving weddings, events, airports, you serving outpatient therapies? Are you doing physical therapies? Right now, you really want to pick a niche. You don't want to just get everybody, because everybody is going for everybody. It's a whole hamster wheel. And we're waiting for those people that have been on the hamster wheel for 3 years and didn't set up right to get off the wheel. So that those of you who are prepared and ready to go in there and do it the right way, that you have and understand diversified revenue streams. The next thing you can do is enhance your marketing and branding. I know you all have seen what my team has done. My team is excellent. They have taken me from the little girl with wild hair, wild crazy hair that was about a toothpick thin because I couldn't eat, couldn't swallow. I just lost my NEMT company, and Tasif called me and said, hey, I can help you out. He showed me his presentation. I've been working with them since, and you all can see the evolution of what branding and marketing can do for you. So I'm encouraging you all to get your branding and your marketing up. Again, I know it's an expense. I do. I know personally that it's an expense, but I also know that when the phone rings and my schedule, my calendar, I'm seeing eight people a day, 4 of them usually my clients, and 3 or 4 additionally discovery calls. Something's right. Something's right. And it wasn't doing that when I was doing it alone. Nobody was looking at my channel when I was doing it alone. I had to enhance my marketing and branding. And then finally, maximize your operation. Well, not finally, we got another one. I want you to maximize your operations and efficiency. Meaning, if you're still on your calendar, if you're still using a hand in to schedule your rides, I need you to call Bambi. I need you to call Toby. I need you to call Route Genie, Medi Routes, somebody. And I need you to start getting on some demos. I need you to understand how to streamline your operations. I have a young lady who's going to be coming on in the next couple of weeks to talk to you about how we can offshore some expenses, because again, wages here are going to get higher, and there are some things that you can outsource that will keep you still effective. So we need to make sure that we're streamlining our operations. And then finally, join my community. I hope you can see that. Join my community. My academy is now up. Willena McGee, NEMT Academy. I'm going to leave it in the description box tomorrow. Again, I told you I'm wore out, can't breathe. But I'm going to leave that description in the description box for you all to join that community. It is a free community. And when I tell you we're about to get busy in that community, we're about to get busy in that community. We're going to be talking about how to formulate your LLC, like literally how to formulate your LLC. We're going to be talking about what the LLC, how it protects you. We're going to get in deep. And this isn't for individuals who just want to pass through. No, you're going to have to study, and you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to be teachable, because if you're not teachable, my program is not going to work for you. And that's okay. We can still be friends. You can still watch my videos. We can still hang out. You can call me, whatever. And I'm still going to appreciate you. But if you're not teachable, and if you're not able to keep your mind centered and focused on what it is that you're learning, then there's no point in you joining my courses. We're getting started with the LLC formation. We're going to be talking about how to secure business funding. We're going to be talking about how to use apps. We're going to be talking about technology, AI technology, how to help you to create documents, forms, and use templates and stuff. We're going to be going through it all. That's my daughter. So we're going to be going through all of that. So it is so imperative that you all go ahead and join my community. It's free. It's free. It's free. That's all I can say. So the information that I give on the community, I'm going to do a practice run on YouTube so that my members can have that on their YouTube. But then I'm going to do a live version again in the community so that you all can have my stress-free version, right? So, all right. If there's any questions, y'all go ahead and ask them. I appreciate y'all staying here to the end, and make sure that you share this, because I need the word to get out to individuals. Liking it is great, but I really need to share so that we can go ahead and get this word out. get this word out so other people don't make the same mistakes. Contact your friends, your family, those of you all that know that there's other entrepreneurs in your area. Again, we have to start thinking community and not just ourselves, okay? Don't just open the business by yourself. If you have someone you can partner with that you can trust, there's operation agreements that you can fill out to make sure that everything stays safe. You can designate individuals to be the different members of your company. So we need to begin to work together, because if this economy goes the way that it's looking, we're going to need daycares. We're going to need transportation services. We're going to need grocery stores. We're going to need to be able to sell amongst ourselves, and this isn't a frightening thing. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. This gives us an opportunity to build our community. So I just want you all to know that. So let me say that we got MC who said, hello, Coach Willena, may your healing come quickly. Amen. I'm with you on that. I appreciate you. This is tough, but I got my inhaler. And my head is pounding, but thank you. I appreciate being here. Can someone start an NEMT business with a dismissed assault and battery charge? If so, that's gonna be on whether or not it shows up on your background report. If it shows up on your background report and you can, I don't know if adjudicated is the right word. I know that's a big word. Look, where my friend at? Where Rosemary? I need her. I know she's a corporate IRS attorney, but I still might be able to ask her that. But 9 times out of 10, if it's on your record and it was never processed, like if it wasn't a felony or if you were just charged, you most likely will be able to start the NEMT business. Usually it's with the conviction. And when you have the conviction, it begins a 10-year cycle for like the assault. I've seen drivers that have been able to get on after 10 years, 12 years with simple assaults, but it's still a risk. So I would recommend, again, if you have someone, in your case, if you have that simple assault, see if you can get it off. Like here in South Carolina, I had some charges when I got convicted. I had some charges, like they had me with some crazy charges, like for real crazy charges that I had to go and get expunged. And so they're not on my record anymore, and only the things that I actually did. All right. I said, thank you for the knowledge you share. You are so welcome. I appreciate you being here. William says, can I start a medical transportation with one vehicle? How to use a little bit of personal cash and a little bit of my personal credit card? No, I don't. I do not. Let me say, I do not recommend that. I recommend that you slow it down, that you build your business credit so that you can get business funding or micro loans. Okay, you don't want to mix, especially in an economy like this, with your personal credit cards. If you have to have food and you don't want to you want to have that available for emergency purposes. And so I recommend that you, again, pair up. There is nothing wrong with pairing up. We see that with the other influencers. We see them, they're paired up, and that is a major reason for their success. I'm not saying it's all of their success, but they have each other. So where one falls short, the other can pick up the pieces. So you don't have to do it alone. There's so many individuals out here that are ready to become entrepreneurs. You just have to find someone that you trust and then get a coach. And then I can walk you through the entire process so that you're not spending a ton of your personal cash. Now, are you still going to need some? Absolutely. But there's a way to do it so that you're not risking so much. Okay. All right. Because even in my program, I tell all my students that you're going to need, outside of your initial investment with me, you're still going to need at least $30,000. Again, my students say at least 50. But I say the minimum is $30,000. You're going to need $10,000 for a down payment on a vehicle. You're going to need $10,000 at minimum for the insurance. That could be the down payment, or if you're going to do monthly installments, you're still going to need that money to kind of just divvy it out so that you can cover that. And then you're going to need $10,000 for cash flow. So then when I'm saying, hey, I need you to make purchases for your JJ Gold and so that you can build your business credit and all those things, you can go out and do that. Or if I say, hey, we need to get some accounting software so that we can finish your business plan, you can go out and do that, or if you need to get a virtual office for your funding, then you can go out and do those things. So you do have to have some personal cash on hand, but it shouldn't be everything you've got. Don't take out your 401ks, don't mortgage your home, because we want to keep that equity intact so that if you can qualify for an SBA loan for transportation, that you have that money in equity in your home, that you might, if you have life insurance policies, you can do whatever you need to do to liquidate those to get those funds. But it needs to be done where you can shelter it in your LLC so that your money is safe. Okay, so that's why it's going to be important to come to that LLC class where I talk about how you can protect your assets in that. Now, I am not an expert on it, but I'm bringing it to you so that you all can have a better understanding of it. And as I learn, we all learn and we grow. But great question, William. So let's see, try to get it expunged. Absolutely, try to get it expunged. You got to get it expunged. If you can get it expunged, then you're not looking into all of that nonsense, and especially if it was dismissed. Yep. Okay, let's see. I'm in Florida. Just tried to reach ModivCare application. Something couldn't find it on the web. I'm trying to tell y'all. Look, I'm telling you, they are not accepting new transportation providers. And if they are accepting new transportation providers, you're going to have to be in an extremely rural community. And then you're going to have at least 3 videos, 3 vehicles minimum in order to get through with them, and one of them better be at least a wheelchair van. And I saw a video today, y'all. We 46 minutes in, and I saw one today. Y'all be careful with getting those dual wheelchair vans. Not to say that they're bad, but the problem is in some states it's considered a HIPAA violation. So you really want to make sure that if you're getting a dual wheelchair vehicle, that you make sure that your state is not calling it a HIPAA violation. All right, let's see. Are your coaching prices increasing in March? No. So what it is right now is that if you purchase the NEMT Solutions program, which is my all-inclusive package, then that right now it's actually at the end of the year it's going to be priced at about $12,000. But right now it's at $10,000. But if you pay for it all at once or 2 payments, I can give it to you for $8,500 solid, no taxes included, $8,500 solid. Now, you can also do payments on that, and that's what most people do. And all I ask for is $2,500 up front, and then you can make monthly payments for 8 months. So what some individuals do is I can send you a invoice out. You can just make the payments on the invoice, or if you want to apply for Klarna, I can send you a Stripe invoice and you can see if you can get accepted on Klarna. So there are options on getting into my program, but I really recommend at this time, unless you got it, and usually I have to say, unless you're making up at least $100,000 a year, most individuals are not going to be able to afford my prices, and I understand it. But what I want you all to get into the habit of is find you a partner. Find you a like-minded partner. Go into my community, my new NEMT community. Start linking up with individuals, start networking. Go to my Facebook group and say, hey, who's in Louisiana? Who's in New York? Who's in Michigan, who's in Ohio, and begin to pair up with those individuals. Who's in Indianapolis, Indiana, who's there. And then if you're like-minded, start to network and begin to create your businesses together. because we're going to need individuals to come into this business to take care of our loved ones. Regardless of Medicaid, ModivCare, Medicare stops paying, people still have to get to dialysis. People still have to get to chemotherapy. They still got to go to the grocery store. They still got to get to the airport. And they may reduce their service demand, but at the same time, they're still going to need a provider when they got to go. And if you've done your marketing, if you've done your branding, then you will be the provider that pops up when they need that. S corps versus LLC, what do you recommend? So I am not a big fan of S corps because they can change the rules every few years on how you have them. And if you start out with an S corp, then you have to keep that S corp for those, 5 years or whatever. And then if you leave an S corp, you can't get it again. You can't apply for another S corp for however many years it is, like 7, I'm not sure. But S corps are dangerous because it's double taxation, where an LLC allows you to put in your money. You can put in their owner investment. And then when you need to pay yourself back from that owner investment, then you just put owner payment, and then you mark it in your QuickBooks, your Xero, whatever software that you're using, that you're paying back as an owner investment, and you're not taxed as heavily as you are in an S corp. You have to remember that S corps are for individuals who have stakeholders. So in the case that you do partner up, and maybe you partner up with 3 or 4 people, then you may want to go ahead and do a S corp if everybody's putting in an investment. But it's all going to matter. If you're a single entity, single person, I don't recommend an S corp until you have a lot of experience in business because of the double taxation. You will have to pay taxes when you get the money, and then you have to pay taxes when you pay yourself. So you're paying twice for one service, and I'm not a big fan of that. So there are some of my companies who, before they got with me, they structured themselves as corporations, and now we're having to fight through it. Even one of my Jersey crew, we just found out today that their EIN is kind of set up possibly the wrong way. So it just, I don't say don't get an S corp, but you have to get an S corp for the right reasons. Don't just get an S corp because a lot of people think that you can get a lot more investment money, and you can if you know how to crowdfund and those type of things. Then yes, you can get that money for stakeholders, but you also have to remember that when you add on stakeholders, that you're responsible to those stakeholders. We see that in Target and their DEI rollback. That was part of it, is keeping their stakeholders happy. We see that in ModivCare right now. I told you to go to that LinkedIn article on Mark Crawford's page, and I'll put it down in the description tomorrow, but go to his page, those articles, and it talks about the CFO of ModivCare saying that they've got to make sure that they protect their stakeholders. So I hope that helps. Okay, so can one drive for an NEMT company with a dismissed domestic assault charge? So again, yeah, if it's dismissed, the best thing to do is to get it expunged. Seriously, the best thing you can do is to get it expunged, and so that it just doesn't even show up. Because if it shows up on your background report at all, they're going to look at you and say, okay, explain this. So just get it taken off. I know in South Carolina, for me to get my expungement from those bogus charges, it was like $150 for, I think there was 2 sets of them because I had 2 convictions, y'all. I had 2 convictions. So I had to pay $150 for each. So it was like $300. That was it. Okay. So what credentials, MC says, okay, thank you. And then, so what credentials do you need to become NEMT? So credentialing wise, it's going to vary from state to state, but just the generic stuff is that you're going to be looking, in each state, it's going to be different on who your regulating body is. In some states, it may be your Department of Health. It may be your Medicaid office. You may have a public service commission. You may have a for hire. You may have a livery. You may have a I know here in South Carolina, we have an ORS, so Office of Regulatory Staff. In North Carolina is NC Tracks. So in California, you got Medi-Cal. Is it Medi-Cal? So in Florida, you got, is it, who does that? Something Grainwell, something like that. So in Texas, it's the TMMHP. So it varies amongst each state. So you really have to understand where to go. But once you get your initial licensing through the state, then you need to make sure that you have your drivers, and a lot of times that's included when you have to do that. You want to make sure that your driver has hold on, y'all. Make sure that your driver has driver's license, MVR record, at least 7 years, the background check, your urinalysis. That usually they want a 5 to 7 panel urinalysis, and your pass. In some states, pass, like Pennsylvania, they don't have pass. They have a different program, and I think New York does too. It's called what is it called? Somebody help me out. I can't remember it right off my head, but it's a different company. They don't do pass. It's something else. So you'll need the pass. You'll need pass hands-on. You'll need driver's training in some states through the the National Council of Defensive Driving, but there's a specific course that some states need. You can't just go and do it. You'll need to ask them. So it does vary. If you have stretcher, you're going to need to make sure that you're in stretcher compliance. I know here in South Carolina, it goes through DHEC and all that kind of stuff. I think so, right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So stretchers can be a totally different ballgame. I hope that answers your question. Texas. So Texas, you're going to be looking at the TMMHP. So that's your regulating body. It's taking them right now. I have my clients in Texas right now who turned in their application in January, and they're still waiting. So we're seeing about 60 to 90 days on a turnaround in Texas. But the Texas market is a beast. I'm telling y'all, if y'all going in there thinking you're going to get with brokers, you're incorrect. Those TNC companies it's not easy in Texas. If you go into Texas, you have got to have a plan, and I mean a business plan. So if you got to come to me, let's sit down. Not one of those business plans that cost you a couple $100 on, these different things. No, for my program, we get deep. So you need to get a business plan, financial projections, and 8 strategy sessions with me to actually sit down and talk about how to build your business out in those areas, Texas and Florida and Virginia. Y'all are just swamped all over, and clearly now South Carolina's extended out, and I'm sure North Carolina is probably going to be close, and I don't know what's going on in Georgia yet. So if anybody knows what's going on in Georgia, let me know. You're very welcome. All right, what is regulating body for NEMT in Massachusetts? I haven't done Massachusetts. I did Connecticut, and in Connecticut it's delivery, and they ain't playing over there. And if you're in Massachusetts, yeah, they ain't playing over there. They ain't playing in that northeast quadrant over there. Yeah, they're not playing. They don't make it easy for you to get in. So if you got that legal stuff on you, get it off, because they not playing over there. They don't let everybody, they make it very challenging. One of my students, Marvel Lynn, she struggled to get accepted over in that Connecticut area. So y'all be careful over on that northeast border. Make sure you're set up right. All right, any other questions? I'm here, y'all. I know it sometimes takes a minute. Again, my head is over here pounding. I'm trying to look, and I don't have no chair. Y'all tell me if you have any more questions, or I'm gonna cut it off at 60 minutes, because we've been going on for a while. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. I did a different format because I really want you all to listen to what it is I'm talking about. There are so many changes coming down the pipeline that the brokers are being proactive. They're not taking you unless you got 3 vehicles. Even with my tricks, of my sleeves that I do, they're not taking you unless you got 3 vehicles or you are in an extremely rural area. That's so just chill. If you're going to go into the business, you're going to have to do it the slow and steady and right way. You're going to have to take your baby steps. You're going to have to crawl before you walk. You're going to have to eat drink milk before you get onto mature food. You're going to have to do some prayers. You're going to have to cry a little bit. It's going to be painful, but you got to give it 3 years. You've got to give it a solid 3 years. Don't think that it's going to come overnight. It's not going to come overnight. And I want you all to remember that I'm going to be in South Carolina. I'm going to be doing a workshop, my NEMT 101 workshop in South Carolina, May 2nd. All right. Let's see. Let me see. Thank you so much. MC says you are so welcome. I appreciate you being here. And then it says, I have LLC, MPI, HIPAA, BPP. What is BPP? I'm not sure what BPP is. Tell me. EIN, but I don't have CPR yet. But what about private pay? Give me a little bit more clarification. I'm going to drink a little bit of water so I don't choke to death, y'all. Give me a little bit more clarification on that. So you're in Texas and you have your LLC, your MPI. I'm not sure what the BPP is, and you got your EIN. You have CPR yet, but what about private pay? So, I'm all about the business setup. And again, we're an hour in and most people's attention spans don't go this long. So I'm going to share with y'all some knowledge. If you don't have your certifications, and I'm talking about your women's own, your veterans own, you're not going to get in with brokers. Okay. But I need you all to have your certifications. I also need you to get certified through myself or the other accrediting body, which is NEMT, so that you all can have those certifications that will leverage you in the case this stuff comes down the pipeline. You want to be ready and prepared. So if you don't have those, if you don't have a website, if you're not creating content, if you're not being found in the right areas, then you're not gonna see that self-pay come in. It's like Coca-Cola never stops advertising. Amazon never stops advertising. Beyonce ain't never stopped advertising. Okay. That everybody never stops advertising. I don't stop advertising. So if you're not showing content, if you're not on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, some type of X, whatever it is that you want to be on, if you're not on some type of platform sharing your message, it's going to be very difficult for individuals to find you and say, okay, that's what I want to transport me. You want to transport individuals who are like-minded, who are not going to give you bad reviews on your Google, who are not going to give you bad reviews on your Yelp that diminish your score. So you have to attract the right clients, even in your self-pay. So that's where, like I said, come over to the community, join the free community, NEMT Academy. I'm going to put the links on there so that we can begin to have these deep dive conversations in a private area that's exclusive for our community. All right. So how hard is it to start private pay? It's hard. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's hard. Anything that you do when you're just starting out, you've got algorithms that you're competing against. You've got competitors that you're competing against. It's hard. So that is, again, why you have to make sure that you invest that initial cash flow wisely so that you can make sure that you have the right tools in place to leverage you. So it takes time. I still get calls right now. My husband created a website for me back when I was doing J&Ls back in 2019. And he SEO'd that thing to death for me, right? And I still can't figure out how to take the website down. So I still get calls. It's 3 years. The first year I never got a call. I had to go out of business the second year and I never got a call. But on year 3, my phone literally blows up every single day. I get a text. I got a text on my phone call right now. Hey, do you do NEMT? No, I'm sorry. I just teach and coach. So I don't actually do NEMT. I turn down more business now than I turned down. But that's because I had the website that was properly SEO. Nobody in South Carolina has a website, so these people can't call because they don't even have a website. I don't even understand it. I don't even understand it. All these people out here broker dependent, and the crap is about to hit the fan, and people ain't gonna be able to find them. And it's going to be a mess. That's what I'm saying. We're going to see a worsening of the conditions in NEMT before we actually see it improve. And that's why it is so important that if you have the time, don't rush through this. If you're not didn't just lose your job, and I'm not talking about federal workers, because I know some, again, y'all got a little bit of disposable income so that you can focus on this. But if you've been working, your 9 to 5, like at FedEx, and you just lost your job, and you're struggling to make ends meet to feed your kids, it is not the business to go into right now because it's too expensive. It's too expensive. But if you have a couple of partners that you can divide the expenses, that you can get everything in order, and you have the time to do it correctly, come see me. I'm serious, y'all. Let's get it done and get it done correctly. Don't try to think that because I give a lot of information. I do give a lot of valuable information, but the playbook, I'm the coach, y'all. The playbook belongs to me. It goes where I go. You go and you execute the playbook. You execute the plays. I tell you the play. I tell you what to do, why you're doing it, and how to do it. And then it's your responsibility to go do it. If you don't have the funds to get it done, this business is not going to work for you. So I hope that helps. It says, okay, working on a website. Yeah. And again, get with Tasif, come get your business plan with me. Come get your business plan. So because Tasif offers my clients a discount on websites. And again, his websites aren't cheap. But that's because he's been in the business for the last, 2-3 years. He understands exactly what needs to be done. He understands my program. He understands how I work. And he's going to make sure that you have everything that you need, not necessarily everything that you want. Sometimes he can hit the mark exactly point on, but he's going to give you absolutely everything that you need on your website, on your branding, to be successful in this industry. So, cheap is not the name of the game. That's a common misconception that individuals think that cheap is better. And it's not. Even let's talk about Walmart, y'all. I got to talk about Walmart. My stepson has said to my husband when he had come to visit, he said, why don't y'all shop at Walmart? Why y'all shop at Publix? It's so expensive. And I was like, have you ever seen Walmart grocery prices? Walmart got you food. Walmart only offers a select amount of items, and they charge more for their food items than they do for anything else in the store. Everything else is discounted rates, but the food is more expensive. You're better off going to the Kroger's, the Publix, the Food Lions, and things like that to shop for your actual groceries. So it's one of those things where you just have to understand who you're dealing with. I hope I didn't digress too much. Okay, working on website. Any other questions, y'all? I'm here. Again, ModivCare is cracking down. They're reducing contracts. I know MTM now has a 3-vehicle policy also. And again, one of those had better be a wheelchair van, or you're not getting in. Be cautious on getting wheelchair vans that are tandem, dual wheelchair vans. Not to say that it doesn't work, but in some states, I do know for a fact, especially I think it's Connecticut, I believe, they do not accept. It is a HIPAA violation to have dual vehicles. So just be cautious, because I know that was put out there today on a short that I saw, that they were talking about bronze. It's not to say that you can't. I'm just saying, just double check in your area to make sure that they will accept that, because in some states it is a HIPAA violation to transport patients tandemly. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, y'all, this was a fantastic live. I appreciate you being here. Please share this. Like, I got the Rona. I'm half dying. I know my coworkers gonna be like, "Oh, you can't come to work, but you get on live." I'm tired. I'm sick, but we made it through, and I appreciate everybody for showing up. Hold on. Okay. It hurts to cough. I'm gonna get out these clothes and I'm going to bed. If there are any other questions, send me an email, book a discovery call if you're ready to get into a program. Again, February 28th is the last day for the $8,500 special. Then the price is going back up to the $10K. And again, I do take divided payments for that $10K program. And just be patient. Get a couple of partners, you all, to get this thing done the right way. The foundations. I can't tell you all my program because otherwise everybody else will be doing it. I'd love to sit down and tell you exactly how to do it, but I've reached past that point. Now I want to bring you more training and education. So not just to tell you how to do it. If you don't understand why you're doing something, it's like, then you're doing it on clockwork, but no one's telling you why you're doing it. So then you begin to miss steps, and then you come to me and you're like, well, how come this didn't work? And I'm like, because you didn't understand the concept. So we have to go back to our primary educations and say, okay, I'm teachable, and I'm ready to do this the right way. I'm ready to go under someone's mentorship. I'm ready for someone who's experienced this, who's an active leader in the industry, who knows what they're talking about, accredited, and going to set you up the right way. That's invaluable. So I look forward to seeing and speaking to each and every last one of you. I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for showing up. And I look forward to our next live together. All right, y'all. Be blessed.